What's good, streaming people? Welcome to CBS Sports HQ, presented by Geico. That's Jeremy St. Louis. I'm Tommy Tran. Happy Monday. The NBA Finals could end tonight. The Nuggets could win their first title, JSL, if they take care of the Heat at home.
Yeah, the white gloves are out. There's a trophy in the building for tonight's game in Denver, but while the Heat may be heavy underdogs, sitting at 9 points this morning, don't count them out just yet. I mean, they have a knack. They have a knack for coming back from the dead, but this would be an historic comeback. Teams up 3-1 in the final series, 35-1 all-time. The only exception, of course, being the 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers. Despite water restrictions in place in Denver, the Nuggets more than ready to quench their 4+ decade title drought. Now, they won both games in Miami, and they looked every bit the part of champion in that last game win, Game 4 win. Aaron Gordon led the way with 27 points. Nikola Jokic had another triple-double, and Jamal Murray had a dozen helpers. Despite their stranglehold on the series, head coach Michael Malone says, we can't let up yet.
My biggest concern going into any closeout game is human nature and fighting against that. You know, you're up 3-1, and, you know, most teams, when you're up 3-1, they come up for air, they relax, and they just kind of take it for granted that, we're going to win this. And we know anything is possible. And that's why, like, my message to our team before we came down to the media in the open portion of practices was, our approach has to be that we're down 3-1. You know, they're desperate, we have to be more desperate. They're hungry, we have to be hungrier.
All right, well, let's discuss what could be the title-clinching game with our NBA analyst, Tim Doyle. Tim, you heard Malone there. I mean, he's talking about the fact that this is a team, he wants his team to play with that mentality like they're down 3-1. What do the Nuggets need to be wary of with the Heat on the ropes tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it's still professional basketball, right? I mean, you got guys that are getting paid millions of dollars to put a little orange basketball into a hoop. I mean, so anything's possible, right? Joker could turn his ankle, Jamal Murray, like, still got to go out there and play the 48 minutes. Now, I will say this. I got a long history with Michael Malone. It goes back to our dads. His dad, Brendan Malone, was a famous assistant coach on those bad boy teams in the Pistons. And my dad played on the Pistons in the early 60s, and they were both from the same neighborhood. Now, you look at 99-01. Jeremy, Michael Malone was dragging me up to Manhattan College. He was trying to get me a sign there. He didn't know I had 1560 on the SAT. Too smart to go to that school, for crying out loud. Grinded his way into the NBA and has, worked his way up from assistant coach to head coach. And I think the Sacramento Kings, which fired him after basically 1 year, are probably kicking themselves right now because him and Jokic have aligned up together with their careers. And I think this is just the start of something. Like, Jokic's only 28 years old. He ain't going anywhere. Mike Malone just signed an extension. He ain't going anywhere. So I'm not necessarily saying we're looking at a dynasty, but the Nuggets are going to be really good for the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, certainly the pieces are in place for this team to not just win this year, but perhaps win a couple more chips down the road. To the Miami side, you heard the news off the top. Tyler Hero back to questionable, so he could play tonight. But Tim, I mean, he's been out almost a couple months here. What kind of a difference could he make if he does get into this game?
You know, it reminds me of one of the great movies of all time, okay? Karate Kid. It's not a movie about karate, Jeremy. It's a movie about life, okay? And when I heard Tyler Hero has been upgraded, I just kind of looked over my shoulder. I go, Daniel LaRusso is going to fight. Daniel LaRusso, the famous Ralph Macchio character, Ralph played. But that's what I feel like with Hero potentially playing in this game. I mean, you could add in Tyler Hero. Spoelstra, we've already seen, has thrown the kitchen sink at the Nuggets, whether it's been zone or matchups or this guy out of the lineup. And he's like, all right, we're down 3-1. He knows the history, right? Only one team's ever come back from this deficit. Hero has that ability. He's shown in the past. He could go out there and get, 25 points. He can go out there and score 10 in a row. Big thing with the Heat have struggled in this series is only one, I repeat, only one game in this series have they scored north of 100 points. Oh, that game? They ended up winning, which was game number 2. So the rest of the series, they have been in the 90s. So you add in a guy like Tyler Hero, could certainly create his own shot, could certainly go out there and get buckets. How healthy is he? He said he didn't want to come back. He didn't want to disrupt the chemistry. I actually respected that because the Heat were playing with a lot of momentum going into the NBA Finals. But now down 3-1, Daniel Russo, maybe we see the crane from him.
Oh, geez. So does that make Michael Malone, John Kreese, and Jokic Johnny?
maybe, yeah. Hopefully there'll be no body bags out there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Spoelstra could be Mr. Miyagi when it comes to this one. All right, I saw a thing this morning that said, watch out for the zombie Heat. Declared dead, but then, of course, springing back to life. I mean, what do the Heat need to do, with or without Hero, to extend this series?
Yeah, I bottle up game 2. You know, and that game was ugly as well. 7 times in this postseason, the Heat have trailed by 12 points or more. 7 times. They've come back and won those games. But the second half of game 2, that's the recipe. 60 second half points. They made 17 threes. And Duncan Robinson and Max Strus, I mean, you could find them on the back of a milk carton in some games. I mean, missing in action. And then both these guys stepped up in an enormous way. It was really Strus early and Duncan Robinson late. He had 10 points in the fourth quarter, Duncan did. They opened up 9 of 10 in the fourth quarter. Just seems like their contribution outside of Bam and Jimmy has been inconsistent. You know, Martin averaged almost 20 points a game in the Celtics series. And, you know, he was sick and he hasn't been himself throughout the playoffs. So, what a great game to play in if you're the Miami Heat. Like, pressure's off, like you're down 3-1, you're massive dogs in this game. When they won game number 2, Jeremy, as 8.5-point underdogs, technically, spread-wise, it was the biggest upset in the history of the NBA Finals. So the Heat could go out there and play carefree. Tyler Hero's going to play great, but I think the biggest number is they got to make 15 or more threes.
Well, and they could eclipse that comeback because the line right now has them at 9-point dogs here. The total sitting at 209 and a hook. We talked on Saturday about some early bets for this game. The consensus was that it was just too many points at that time. I expected this line to move down, and it still might, but remaining at 9, have you altered your thinking, or are you sticking with what you originally thought?
I know you rent in that Miami, Fort Lauderdale area, okay? But we have a wonderful opportunity for you in Middle Village, okay? Where I am the mayor of the Middle Village, all right? Come on into the Village. For those people that are unfamiliar with Middle Village, here's how I'm going to be betting this game. We are going to be creating a middle, meaning we're going to build bets at both sides of this game. Denver money line. We have to put that in a parlay because if you lose that, you actually have to give away 2 family members. That's how big a favorite they are in this game. So we bet them on the money line because we all know this series is ending. Unfortunately, when it ends, I get paid less. I need this series to go on. The more games played, the more money I make because I get more appearances. That's another story for another day. But everybody, and I mean everybody, is going to be playing Denver here, laying the points. You take Miami plus those points. They got carefree. You build the Village. So, Jeremy, we have a Village in this game. 1 through 8. Nuggets can win by even 9. We push to a winner, and we create a happy little village here in the middle.
That's why we call you your worship, right? Because you're the mayor of Middle Village. All right, so that's the line situation. What about a player prop? What do you have for a top prop tonight?
You know, they say speak softly and carry a big hammer. Something like that. I don't know. Teddy Roosevelt was riding around on a horse, and those weird glasses that were like the circle ones that, I don't know, they never really caught on, yet some people still wear them. I'm going to go over Murray assists. All right, go back to the previous pre-series. Okay, Minnesota, no games. No games against the T-Wolves with 10 assists. Phoenix, he had more than 10 assists, right? Not once. Not once. All right, but the Lakers, more than 10 assists. He didn't have 10 assists in that series either, but yet every single game, in last game, 12 assists, he has had 10 plus or more assists. In last game, he had no turnovers. 0 turnovers. So when you're in a rhythm like that, passing can be very similar to shooting. You can get hot. How do I know that? I, at one time, Jeremy, not sure if you knew this was, I don't know if it reached as far as Canada as you lived, but at one time, I was the all-time assist leader at Northwestern. Oh. And as my record was about to fall, and it has been shattered, they asked me, they said, are you happy to see your record broken? No! It's all I have. I'm sitting in my mom's basement. I got 3 kids. I have a minivan with 2 sunroofs and 36 cup holders. And this is all I'm holding on to is this poor little single season assist record. And now it's gone. My point is, I can see when someone's getting hot passing the ball. Murray's hot passing the ball. I'm going to be hammering over his assist.